Hey gang, thanks for checking in. Today's something a little bit different. Let's check in on everything we got going on in the little shop. Alright guys, so I'm going to call these videos, there's the light, I'm going to call these videos the state of the shop. You know how the president has the state of the union and there's states of other things? Well, this is going to be the state of the shop. I'll try and put them out about once a month just to show you what I got going on, the little projects in and out of here, the big things going on, and what's basically accumulating all my time and where I'm at with certain things. Let's start over with some organization and some cleaning. So the biggest thing I did recently is I cleared this area out because I needed to fit both of these cars. Let me spin you around here. I had to fit the Mustang and the Falcon in here. And the reason I had to do this is because I had the Mustang over there in my garage. Now, the deal when I bought this house is I told my wife for the first time that we've been married, you can have a garage. You can park your car in there. You can do whatever you want in there. She leaves her truck in the driveway. She got the whole garage, leaves her truck in the driveway. I can't change it, I don't know. But anyways, that's her garage. I told her she could have that for storage or whatever she wanted. So I had to get the Mustang out. Now my shop is big enough, just barely, to fit two cars in. And I've got the Mustang and the Falcon in here comfortably-ish. And I can work on this car here. Probably what will happen is when I go to work on it, I will push one out and then kind of focus on the other one. But anyways, I really had to kind of come through here and just get rid of a lot of clutter. I've still got some here. That's a trash bag. That's some sound deadening, and kind of organize things. So the first thing I did is I just pulled everything out and I pulled it all in the driveway. And then I started going through piece by piece and putting things back in. So my idea is that I wanted one side of the garage to be Falcon parts and the other side of the garage to be Mustang parts. And I think all this right now is Falcon parts, but I think what I want to do is make this side Mustang parts, that side Falcon parts, because I've got more Falcon parts because this car's got further to go than this one does. So that's the plan. And I had originally a bunch of junk under here, and I threw a lot of it away. These boxes have got to get, still, you know, TBD on that. But I cleared a lot of this space up and I started kind of organizing this. These metalworking tools, I got a shrinker stretcher and a throatless shear. The throatless shear is probably going to go to the bench right there, but that shrinker stretcher, I'm going to make stands on the side of my English wheel for that. So those are going to be there, and that's probably going to be on wheels so I can pull it out. Anyways, so yeah, so here's the layout of the shop. I've got my flammables cabinet, metalworking stuff, cutting, bending with the pipe or tube bender here, and then a little workspace there, some storage, nuts and bolts, things of that nature, more metalworking, drilling, grinding, and then cutting and welding is over here, and all the clean stuff is on the other side of the shop. So, well, I mean, I guess it's not super clean, but I have a work area over there that's trashed right now. That's where I assembled my motor, milling machine, a little work surface over there, my lathe, which I guess is not really clean. And then that's my primary work surface over there, which is absolutely trashed right now. I still have to go through and organize that. But I've got the floor space kind of organized now. There's a few other things I want to organize a little bit differently to clear up some more floor space, but that's the majority of it right now. And I got both the cars in here and I can kind of keep everything semi-organized. Let me show you a little bit more about the footprint and some other things I want to move around. All right, these are my biggest pains in the butt. My pressure washer, my table saw, my fan, and this. I actually use this a lot right now, so I want to put it in a place where I can get to it. I was thinking of moving the lathe over a couple feet and sticking it back in there. That would free up the space. This thing can probably just, I don't know, go under a bench or something. I was thinking maybe right behind where that radiator is, I can put it back in there. But the engine will soon be off the stand, but then I'll have this engine to put on there. I've got that block over there, and I've got a 351 and a couple cranks over there. So, I mean, those are kind of deep-ish storage for me. And then I've got this rolling cart I work off of. It's blown apart right now because that's just the way I do it. Nuts and bolts are sitting on top of that. But anyways, that's a rolling cart, and that cart has on it most of my air tools from the back, and then a lot of common hand tools in there. So when I work on something, I usually have the top of that surface clean, and I can just roll it right up next to what I'm working on, keep my much used tools on there. All right, so that's it for organization. Let's talk about where we're at on each one of these projects here. Before I do that, one major thing I had to get rid of to fit this car in there, I don't know if you remember, but there used to be 2 motorcycles sitting there, and I was actually going to build and give away those motorcycles, but they ended up just taking up so much of my time, and they were like in my brain, and like it just wasn't going to work. So I sold them down the river, and it was worth it. I actually lost money on them. I do that quite often. So I basically rented them for a small amount of money to hold on to them for about 2 years, which was dumb. I do dumb things with money. But now I have the space for this Mustang. So the motorcycles are gone, and the Mustang is in its spot. Where are we at with the Mustang? Here's where we're at. I've got the rear end stuff ready to go. Now, in my first Mustang video, we said we were going to do Willwoods all the way around. We're not going to do that. It changed. And the reason it changed is because this car's got a lot of good brake stuff. Up front, it has the Ford 4-pot calipers and 11-inch rotors. Now, Mike wants to keep the 15-inch wheels. So 11-inch rotor, that's about the biggest you can get on that wheel. So if we were to upgrade to a 4-piston Willwood, the only thing we would be changing is the name. The surface area and clamping force, it would be exactly the same as what we have on there. So I was talking to Mike, I said, let's just put disc brakes on the back, get a disc master cylinder, and have your car 4-wheel disc brakes, and it's going to improve, and it will change the proportion of the valve, and I'll get it tuned up. So, you know, you got a good 60-40 split between braking force, and it'll change the way the car stops. So that's what we've done. We've got rear discs with it's a GM single piston caliper for the back, but it has all the parking brake cables and everything. We're also doing Scott Drake Underwriter traction bars. We were going to do Caltrax, at least that was my understanding, but once I got to talking more about what they actually wanted, it was these that they were talking about, which is the original style that Shelby put on the GT350s. They're Underwriter traction bars. They don't have that swivel part that the Caltrax have. These are still good traction bars, and for the amount of power and what this car is going to be doing, it's a great setup, and it's a great step up from the slapper bars. So that's the setup on the Mustang. We've got the rear end parts. Rear end stuff's going to be done soon. So that's the next major thing. I'm going to pull all the rear end stuff apart and do all that at one time. So that's what's going on with the Mustang. Okay, and for the little Falcon car, this car, last video I made on this, I had just finished the clutch setup. So we've got wiring to do still, which I'm not sure if I'm going to jump on that yet or get the engine and the transmission hung. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the engine and the transmission mounted and finish setting up that Tilton. I got a Tilton hydraulic throwout bearing. So I'm going to do that and then put this in the car. And then, because a lot of the wiring up front is for the engine. And if I had the engine in here, it would just make more sense to me to wait to do the engine wiring with the engine in the car. So that's next for the Falcon, engine and transmission, clutch, flywheel, all that stuff mated and installed into the car. So that's what's next here. And I mentioned it a little bit ago. I bought this strinker and stretcher and a throatless shear. I'm really excited about this throatless shear. This almost replaces snips, not 100%, but a throatless shear is a great thing. I used to have one in a hot rod shop I worked in years ago, and I loved it. And then these are just the Harbor Freight strinker stretcher, and I've played around with them a little bit, and they work great. So they're going to be mounted on my English wheel over here, and the English wheel is eventually going to end up on wheels. But what I want is the kind of wheels that have the lever next to them that'll like retract the wheel and the thing can sit on the ground, because I don't want to be like running a piece through this thing back and forth and the whole damn machine moving around. And then while I'm back here, I need to organize this area. This is a mess back here, this metal area. I'd like to put a rack up there for longer pieces and maybe get rid of Dolly Parton. That was here when I bought the place. I don't have the heart to abandon her. I heard she's mad at this chick named Jolene, so I don't know. Another thing I'd really like to do is find some outside storage for all my yard stuff. I got a lot of yard here to maintain. Let me just show you. So the landscaping in here is really nice. I got all these trees, rose bushes, trees out front. You know, I got landscaping across there, all down the fence. And I got another ½ acre in the back. All this is landscaped. And all that looks great, but it's all more work for me. So to manage all that, I bought a bunch of stuff that's really helped me do it. This backpack blower, weed sprayer. I've got a hedge trimmer, you know, edger, stuff like that. But I end up keeping it in here in my shop, and it's in my way. What I would like is to probably build a shed in the back to keep all that stuff in. That's probably a long-term storage goal for me. One of the things that always bothers me is my setup on the lathe. There's nothing wrong with it. I want more storage solution up here. This top tray, sorry, let me just cover this up. This bugs me too. This top tray, maybe I should make a lid for this that just covers it. Those are my 5C collets. This lathe has a collet closer, which is right there, so you can run round stock or hexagonal stock. Anyways, if you know what a collet closer is, that's what that's for. This top area, like, just gathers stuff and just ends up there. And I end up doing this. Like, that is kind of, I'll clean it up, I swear. And then 5 hours later, it'll look like this. So I need to make cases for my stock. I started to build this storage unit here. I need to put another top layer on it, and then build boxes that are all the same size, and that way I can get at whatever. My grandpa used to have it where it was like brass, and then he'd have like acrylics or plastics and aluminum and steel and all this other stuff, and he was way more organized than I am, but he also had a ton more stuff. So I want to get that back to where it should be in my mind anyways. So yeah, lathe organization is definitely on the list. The last big thing, well, there's two more things, but one of the big things I want to do, and I'm hoping that my work on this Mustang can fund it, because yes, Uncle Mike is paying me. I'm not doing it for free. But what I'm hoping I can do with the funds from that is put a lift in the shop here. A 2-poster. Now, I have about 10 feet of ceiling here. I could have more if I took that out, but there's insulation up there, and this building actually stays really, you know, temperate. So I'd like to maintain that. It'll probably be one of those 2-posts with all the crossover hydraulics and everything going across the floor, which I don't mind, that's fine. But I want to do that there. My problem is I don't know much about this concrete. I drilled a hole right here to see how deep the concrete was, and it was like 6-8 inches, something like that. Which would be deep enough, but if we go over to the other side, it's all cracked. So I don't know how I feel about throwing a lift on there. I'd probably have to cut it out, remove the concrete, and then pour a slab for the lift. And that way I know the PSI of the concrete and everything else. So that would be one less thing that would concern me. I've read about people like building, like, you know, like big plates and putting them on the ground and then anchoring it down to that. But I don't feel too hot about that. I think I just want to get the concrete out and do it the right way. Last thing for the state of the shop is right here. I hope to put a mini split, a 24,000 BTU mini split. This shop is like 1,500 square feet, so that should be enough for this area. All right, guys, April 2021. This is the state of the shop. Thanks so much for watching, and check back soon. We'll do this about once a month just to show you where I'm at and get you caught up on what's going on in here. Thanks, guys.